Hi, so in this lesson, I'm going to be explaining my personal art style, which is very different from Allison's. I'm not going to go into detail about the different tools I use, but I am going to explain my artistic process. First, I'm going to use the pencil tool, and I'm going to use the color blue because it stands out from the red. Now I'm going to outline the different contour lines of the values. And again, I'm going to be using the color blue because it stands out. Here I'm going to continue outlining the highlights and the shadows on the top of the cherry. Now I'm going to outline the cherry using the predictive stroke tool because it makes clean lines. And I'm going to fill in the outline using the paint bucket tool. I'm going to continue to outline the cherry stem using predictive stroke. You can fill it in using the paint bucket tool, but I'm just going to fill it in by myself. Now I'm going to start shading the cherry using the color builder tool. I like this tool because it helps you build up the colors slowly. I'm going to start with a mid-tone shade of red. I really like using the color builder tool because it helps you to lay out the colors slowly but surely. I'm also going to make sure to shade the cherry to give it the illusion that it's round. Now I'm going to start with the darkest value. Like I said, it does take some layers to get it where you want it to be, so you will have to go over it many times to get it dark enough. As you can see here, my flow is almost all the way up. This is because I'm using an Apple pencil. Like I mentioned before, if you want more opaque brush strokes, you should turn up the flow. When you want more see-through brush strokes, you should turn it down. I'm going to use that darkest value again to give it the illusion that it's round, and I'm going to use it on the top of the cherry. Now I'm going to shade the highlights. Like I said before, when using the color builder tool, you will have to go over it a few times. You will also notice that the slider on top of the flow slider is very low. This slider determines how big your brush strokes will be. It's very low right now because I'm shading a smaller area. Now I'm going to blend out the drawing. What I've noticed is that Sketchbook tends to blend really easily, so you might want to turn the opacity or the flow down. Here I'm going to fix any mistakes I made in the top of the cherry. As you can see here, I am laying down darker shades and then smoothing them out using the smudge pen. Now what I like to do is to use the synthetic acrylic brush to make the highlights brighter and the shadows darker. I'm using the synthetic acrylic brush to fix a lot of my mistakes because you don't have to build up the colors, unlike the color builder tool. Here I'm creating the highlights on the cherry. Notice how I created a new layer for the stem. I create new layers for every new addition to the drawing. Here I'll be creating even brighter highlights on the cherry. I use the tattoo inker for this because it creates more defined lines. After using the tattoo inker, I'm going to use the smudge pen to blend it out. I'm using the tattoo inker again to fix mistakes on the top of the cherry. What I'm doing here is fixing a part of the cherry that I thought needed to be touched up. I'm making it a little bit darker. Now I'm going to do the top of the cherry stem. When doing this part, I decided to make it a little bit more stylized, so I used the airbrush tool to give it a softer look. I decided that the highlight looked a little bit too harsh, so I decided to blend it out using the smudge pen.